Next, in preparation for inserting the piston assembly into the cylinder, I'm going to apply some motor assembly grease. This is special grease that they sell, and you use it to put a light film on bearing journals, camshafts, basically any parts that are going to be starved for lubrication on initial startup of a fresh engine, because there's not going to be a light film of oil on there to protect them yet until the engine starts and the oil pump has a chance to circulate oil through all the galleys and everything. So for that small initial startup time, we want this thing to be protected. Sometimes it separates after sitting for a while. I mean, this is, to me, this seems a lot like white lithium grease. Whether or not you could use regular old white lithium grease, I imagine if you had nothing else, it would be better than nothing. I've seen some guys just use clean engine oil. So now I want to make sure I insert the piston in correctly so that the intake is facing the correct way. So since this is where the timing chain follower goes in, I know this is the top, and I know the exhaust port's on the bottom, so I know the intake is going to be here. So I want the intake facing that way, and we already decided that that red dot side is going to be the intake. So, and again, there's a bevel at the top of the at the bottom of the cylinder actually, that aids in getting these rings in without the need for a piston ring compressor. So I'm just putting light pressure on here. I don't want to force it, because if the rings aren't in position and you force it, you could damage a ring. Now I'm going to insert one of the two wrist pin retaining clips, and I want to visually inspect and make sure that that ring, that little snap ring, is completely in the groove all the way around. And then I want to rotate it so that, you see right now I've got this gap right here, and the ring is lined up with that hole right there. I don't want that. So I'm going to rotate the whole snap ring in the groove. Alright, so I'm getting ready to put the whole assembly together here. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to make sure, I already made sure that my chain is back on the sprocket down there. If it does come off while after I have the jug back on, I can still get it back on, but it's a little easier to do it when the jug is off. So, and this is going to come up here. So what I want to do is I want to pre-lubricate my wrist pin. And now I'm going to put some of this ultra black on this mating face for the gasket, so when I seat this down it'll seal. Alright, I got my ultra black all in place. I'm going to slide this jug down. Yeah, if I had rethought this, I would have put the clip in the other side, so I could insert the wrist pin from this side right now, because there's less room on this side because of the timing chain. It's making it a little bit more difficult for me to get this in. Okay, I've got the wrist pin in all the way. Now I got to get that clip in. I'm just orienting this clip to make sure that it's in the groove correctly and that it's not, that the end is not lined up with that opening. Looks good.